the Justice for the Serlick Children podcast.
Good evening and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of Justice for the Serlick Children podcast. Today is Monday, January 19th, 2026. Originally, we wanted to start the season talking about my Illinois District 2 Court of Appeals appellant brief and appendix that was filed and accepted 1 week ago, Monday, January 12th. But there have been some new developments regarding my 14-year-old daughter, Bianca Elizabeth Serlick's safety and welfare that I wanted to discuss in this episode tonight. So, Pete, I was sitting on the couch last night around 9:30 p.m. I was grading my students' assignments from last week and...
Not expecting, certainly, to start getting the messages that you started receiving. Now, these were not coming from your daughter.
No.
But it was definitely, sort of changed our whole course of today. Yeah. I know there's a lot you wanted to sort of bring up, but
yeah. So I've been very concerned. I've made it very, very obvious. I've been very concerned about all four of my children for years now. And the reason being is as of March 2024, when I still had an attorney here in Florida Circuit 7, and that was my second attorney, Rick Brown in Daytona. And Rick had said, I don't understand why you don't have access to your children's grades and attendance in Volusia County schools, because Florida has this law that states that unless there is a Florida court order blocking you from having access to your children at school, you absolutely have full access to your children's grades, attendance, discipline, even access at their schools. And you were present for that when Rick said that, weren't you?
Yep. And he then wrote out a letter sort of explaining that.
Yep. Told me to give it to Volusia County schools.
He literally told you, start talking with the teachers and guidance counselors to see what you can do to help get your students' grades brought up. Because at that point, your oldest two were
still
really
minors.
Struggling.
Yeah. My son Thomas was unexcused absences like crazy. Literally, so the moment I gained access to all four of my minor children's grades and attendance in the parent portal of Volusia County Schools, I immediately started saving the report cards, saving the attendance, and giving it to my attorney immediately. And so in March of 2024, Rick Brown wrote me a letter on his company letterhead. And it basically said, take this letter to all of the administrators at all their schools and help work on getting their grades up. And so that was March of 2024. We're going to share my screen. I want you to see my daughter's full report card from last year. So this is the final report card, quarter 1 through quarter 4. And I want you to take a look at the grade periods. And Pete, what do you see is a common theme on all of those grading periods?
Definitely not doing great.
Yeah. So quarter 1. So this was 2024 into 2025. So this was literally when I still had Rick Brown as my attorney.
Quarter 1, honestly, not that bad. There are a couple D's. Mm-hmm. But then it took a dramatic turn moving into quarter 2.
Yeah. So overall GPA for quarter 1, and this would have been 2024, quarter 1 of 2024. So that would have been August to like October, November of 2024. And that grade GPA was 2.57. Okay, so overall 2.6. Not terrible. She had 2 Ds. The rest were A's, B's, and C's. But then we move into quarter 2 of 2024, so right before winter break.
Yeah, and that's, obviously something has started happening significantly because you're not only do the grades drop significantly, but all of a sudden there's a bunch of absences have started happening.
Yeah. And then total GPA for quarter 2 of 2024, 1.28. So a 1.3 overall GPA.
Not even a minimum passing.
Nope. Unlike certain states, D does not equal degree here in the state of Florida. You have to have a 70% or better to actually have a passing grade. So D does not equal degree here in Florida.
2.0 GPA to graduate. And
then quarter 3, so that would be 2025. That would be January after winter break of 2025. Overall GPA 2.28, so 2.3.
Yeah, the attendance was a little bit better in that third, but that was also right after Judge Upchurch chastised Justin about the kids missing school.
Yep. So the court dates from last year correlate with GPAs for my children, interestingly enough. I've said it 100 times before, I'll say it again. How a child does in school is a direct reflection of their home life. So let's now look at quarter 4 of 2025. So that's April, late March through April, May of 2025 after spring break. And that GPA went right back down to 1.85, so 1.9.
The
not even passing.
Attendance issues started picking up again, though not necessarily terrible on the attendance for her for that second or fourth quarter.
Yeah. So like I said, how a child does in school is a direct reflection of their home life. So let's fast forward to this school year. So this is her report card from quarter 1 and quarter 2 of 2025, right before winter break. So this school year, where I am actually a teacher in a different school district. And Pete, what's her GPA, overall GPA for quarter 1 of this school year?
Quarter 1, right at a 2.0. 2.0.
And then what are we looking at for quarter 2? So right before winter break, where we just came back from.
The pattern continues where there's an okay quarter, and then immediately following that, grades just drop and the absences pick up.
Yep. So it's literally a correlation between last school year, 7th grade, to this school year, 8th grade at Campbell Middle School. So for quarter 2, right before winter break this season, C, D, C, D, C, D, D, for a total GPA of 1.42. So there she is, ending that first half of semester 1, going into semester 2 with not even a passing grade again. And those attendances are concerning. So I have not been quiet about how I feel about Volusia County Schools and the school board. January of last year, so 1 year ago, I did go to a school board meeting. It was January 14th of 2025. So right as that report card came out, I went to that following school board meeting. And I addressed the school board in regards to not just Bianca's failing grades, but also at the time, my son Thomas was still a minor. He had a 1.0 GPA for 3 full years now. He essentially has an 8th grade education. Alarming unexcused absences. I don't understand how a truancy officer has not dealt with this.
I mean, he was practically into triple digits on the unexcused absences.
Yeah. He was not at school more than he actually was.
Yeah.
And that's concerning.
And when he was at school, it also shows he was, very late when he got there.
Yeah. So where are my children when they're not in school? I would love to know that, because it's very clear that Justin Serlick is not keeping tabs on our children.
Well, and then the other thing too is when Tommy's grades and attendance were just abysmal. It's important to note that they live like a 5-minute walk from the high school he was going to.
Yeah.
And then we were in court for one of the hearings, and you had been bringing this up to the judge. You were extremely concerned about the grades and the attendance.
I have not been quiet about my concerns in regards to their education and neglect.
Your ex-husband, Justin, his response to the judge was, "Oh, we're aware of Tommy's grade issue. I just, quote unquote, haven't had the time to go to the school to talk to them." Where they literally live.
Haven't had the time or don't care.
Practically right around the corner, 5 minutes away, if that. So I don't know how you don't have time to get over there. You actually, while all of that was happening, you actually had gone up and
multiple
met with guidance counselors.
Guidance counselors, the assistant principal. Oh, yeah. I made it very well known that I was very concerned about my children's education and the attendance. And I had been, because of my then attorney, Rick Brown, been in direct communication with everybody at Volusia County Schools. And then Justin Serlick squashed that last year. So Volusia County Schools is going to be receiving a federal lawsuit from me. This year.
What happened?
Because I've had it. This is insane. I am a public school teacher here in the state of Florida, watching my children drown academically. Absolutely drowning academically. And no one seems to be concerned about it but Pete and I.
Yeah.
And that is so incredibly alarming.
It really is shocking. And honestly, right now, the only reason we're not pulling up, Tommy's report cards, because his report card and the attendance was way worse, but he's an adult now.
Yeah.
And Heather has made a decision, once the kids are adults, it's up to them, what they want to share with the world. But for her minor children, Bianca and Charlie, I'm
not sure what else to do other than shine a spotlight on my children's neglect, because this is neglect.
Yeah. It's literally, you have tried to go straight to the schools where they're at. You've actually addressed the school board in a school board meeting. Mm-hmm. You have reported all of this to
Florida DCF.
The judge. You reported everything to DCF after an investigator actually called you.
My Chrysalis Health therapist here in Florida actually put in a DCF report, because I was sharing, just like I'm sharing with you guys, the entire world. I was sharing my screen for the Volusia County Schools parent portal, so she was able to see in real time the grades and attendance issues. And she was concerned as a licensed therapist. Yeah, and so she has also put in Florida DCF reports, because she's required to as a mandate reporter.
The shocking thing is, in court, Justin also tried to tell the judge he was mad at you or upset, or the kids were upset that you were sharing their information. But literally, their grades and attendance is about the only information.
It's the only thing I have access to, and I didn't even have access to it until Rick Brown.
You don't get phone calls. You don't get to see your kids.
No.
Because they have actively shut down any
blocked any and all access. They quite literally are holding my children hostage and blocking all access.
So you will share with the world the little information that you have.
Yeah.
And that's why, again, we started the podcast to shed some light on Heather's case, and then we have our other podcasts that we're also getting off the ground to allow other people to share their stories on Heather's Disrupt the Corrupt podcast and my Support Isn't Silent podcast. But it's, as far as the information that you get, circling back to last night, we're just relaxing. You're grading papers. I'm
stretched out on the couch. I've got my laptop on my lap and my laptop desk, and I'm literally just going through and grading. I have 177 students, so I was trying to get all my grading done before our 3-day weekend ended, and then all of a sudden at 9:30 p.m., exactly 9:30 p.m., I start getting text messages. So I have redacted the last digits of the phone number, mainly because
We don't know exactly who sent it.
The person that texted me stated that they are a 13-year-old friend of Bianca's. So in the chance that this is a minor child texting me, I'm protecting their privacy. As a mother and as a school teacher, I'm protecting their privacy. So it's redacted. So you can see 386 area code, and that's it.
When you first started getting these messages, we did do a reverse phone number search, and it did show that it was registered. The registered owner of that phone number does have addresses in Daytona Beach.
Yeah. And for the audio, I'm going to have, so Pete's going to read all the messages from this person, and then I will read all the messages that I sent back. Now, I do want to let you know, there's no instruction manual on how a parent is supposed to deal with the situation that my children and I have been put in. I don't have a therapist whispering in my ear, you need to say this, you need to say that, don't say this, don't say that.
No, you've been asking people.
I'm going 100% off of my gut instinct of what I should say in the moment as these moments arise. So I recognize that people that might be watching or listening to this might not 100% agree with how I answered or what I said. And I understand that we're all trying to navigate this insane family court system that has put us in these positions. And there's no instruction manual on how to deal with it. So please have grace with how I respond to this. But Pete, what was the very first message that came in?
I'll just read off the screen here. So first message comes in at 9:30. Hello, is this Bianca, Mom?
And I say, and just so you know, the way the printout works with my text, it puts the first text at the very bottom. So when you read this, you have to look up instead of down. So you're reading up instead of down.
If anybody's just listening to the podcast on Spotify or the other services, try to get over to the YouTube channel. We'll put up the video, but we do record these live with a video, and we do have the actual messages up on the screen on the video.
Well, a Google Doc link will also have this text conversation that you can click on if you are listening to Spotify, Audible, etc. You should have access to the Google Doc link in the description of this podcast episode.
So with that said, we'll start over here again. Again, first message came in 9:30 last night. Hello, is this Bianca, Mom?
Yes. Who is this?
Just a friend of hers. I wanted to ask you something. You know your darling has 5 boyfriends.
So I did not even address the 5 boyfriends, although at 14 years old, that does really concern me that my 14-year-old daughter has 5 boyfriends in Campbell Middle School, but is failing in her academics. So I respond with, Bianca is being abused and neglected by her father and needs help. I am extremely concerned about her.
Very interesting, considering she said you're the one abusing her.
I've been blocked from any contact by her abusive father for 5 years now. She has had a 1.0 GPA for 3 years now. I'm a Florida public school teacher that has been desperately trying to get her help.
Maybe did you try calling CPS with proof she's getting abused?
And then my immediate response is the link to the Justice for the Serlick Children YouTube channel.
Yeah. And then you received back the message, and this was the first time we got an inclination of sort of really who this was. I'm 13 years old. I don't think I'm understanding what's on your YouTube.
And then I respond with the Facebook link for Justice for the Serlick Children. So now they have 2 links to me exposing my children's abuse and neglect and what Justin Serlick is doing to us. So then I respond after that in the next message. It's my YouTube channel trying to get eyes on Bianca and her younger brother, Charlie. They both need help. Please show all of these text messages to your parents. If she is your friend, she needs help.
Well, we kind of friends. She won't believe anything I say, though.
Please show these texts to your parents, your principal, your guidance counselors. She needs help.
Called the cops and CPS to her address?
I have. Her grandparents, Mary and Ira Serlick, have connections with the police department.
with the pics I got Bianca saying stuff and how she hates you. Why should I help you?
She is being lied to about me by her father, Justin Serlick, and her grandparents, Mary and Ira Serlick. They are neglecting and abusing her. Bianca Elizabeth Serlick needs help, in all caps. Check out my YouTube channel dedicated to my children. Show your parents, show your teachers and guidance counselors.
I mean, I'll try to.
Please, if you care about my daughter, please share the links I sent you. Watch the videos and what I am exposing.
I'll try to. I'll ask her about it on Tuesday.
I appreciate it. She's being flat out lied to about everything that has happened since 2020. She is living a lie. She is being neglected and abused and does not even realize it.
I'll try to get my friend group to help on this.
Thank you. I cannot begin to say how much it means to me if you try to help my daughter. Please check out my YouTube channel and Facebook page for Justice for the Serlick Children dedicated to my 4 babies. Please share those links with everyone. Friends, parents, teachers, principals, guidance counselors, etc. I need eyes on this situation. She needs help.
KKK. 6th grade, she said her dad was drunk and hits her.
And then at that point, at the same time, Pete, can you confirm this? What's the timestamps on the 2 messages right there?
So at...
They literally came in at the same time, within seconds of each other.
Yeah. 10,
yeah,
10,
so
50,
I was in the middle of writing, have a good night, enjoy your day off tomorrow for MLK Day, because I'm off today too as a teacher. So at this point, I called, Pete was upstairs working on our podcast studio, getting some equipment set up because we just got a new computer for our podcast studio yesterday. So I called Pete downstairs so he can read this text that I got right as I told her to have a good night. Pete, what did you think of this message? How did you respond, and what were your thoughts?
It was certainly shocking. I mean, it's not anything we were ever really expecting to get, yesterday. But it's clear this is somebody who knows Bianca, and in reading the whole chain, we don't know if initially she was trying to get Bianca in trouble because of the way the message started.
Right, because she's talking about Bianca having 5 boyfriends.
By
maybe
the time you get
they've
to...
had a falling out, and this friend was just trying to, get her in trouble with a parent.
But you get to this text that you got, 6th grade, she said her dad was drunk and hits her. And so the way I interpret that is, when they were in 6th grade, Bianca told
so
her
this
friend
would have been
that,
2 years ago because they're in 8th grade now.
But it's if that was happening 2 years ago, who's to say it's not continuing to happen?
Yeah. So Justin has been an alcoholic as long as I've known him, which is since we were 15 years old. He's smoked cigarettes since 12. He's been drinking alcohol way earlier than 21. He's been smoking pot since probably 14, 15 years old. So he is not a great role model, to say the least. Whereas I am in my master's program at my alma mater. I'm a public school teacher. I plan on moving on to my PhD. So, I'm going to be very opinionated when it comes to how he is raising my children. And no parent should ever get a message at 9:30 p.m. on a Sunday night from apparently a 13-year-old that goes to school with their child saying that, your daughter told me that her father gets drunk and hits her. Yeah.
So
needless to say, I was not happy last night.
That message sort of just threw you completely for a loop. The rest of the text message thread sort of ended pretty quickly after that. The person messaging you asked also, by any chance, do you live in Daytona Beach? So you had responded with...
Yeah, so I say we live just south in Daytona in Edgewater.
Thank you.
Please let Bianca know if she ever needs me. I will always be there for her. No questions asked. And I can go get her in Daytona quickly if needed. I teach high school marine biology in Orlando.
Then the response was, I will as soon as she unblocks me. My
name is Heather Bendl, 386-846-0599. My partner's name is Pete Arnold, 704-267-3436. Please save both of our names and contact info. Share with trusted adults if needed.
And then the final message that you received, and you have not received anything since from this phone number.
Nothing since.
OFC, which is abbreviation of course. Thank you. Have a safe night. I'll try to help you get your kid back. Which that line was odd to me.
Yeah.
If this truly was a 13-year-old who's friends with Bianca, that line was very odd to me. That was probably the strangest line in the entire text, obviously, other than the reporting.
But here's the thing: there is nothing normal about the last 6 years. Everything is odd. Everything is bizarre. Nothing makes real logical sense since all of this started October 8th of 2020. So obviously, Pete and I felt this was serious enough. I now have a third party that just reached out to me randomly, informing me that my daughter told her that her father gets drunk and hits her. Now, we have previously, in prior episodes in season 1, exposed the Illinois police reports where my son, Thomas Serlick, and my daughter, Bianca Serlick, were at the Lake County Child's Advocacy Center September of 2020 and gave recorded victim statements to assistant state attorneys and investigators. Tommy told the investigators all about Justin Serlick kicking him in the ribs and then picking him up and throwing him physically through his bedroom wall, busting a 4-foot diameter hole in his bedroom wall that I had to cover with a movie poster so Tommy didn't have to stare at that busted up wall, reminding him of his father's abuse to him. So Tommy came forward with that. Bianca came forward, and it's all in the police reports that we've previously exposed. I'll more than likely put those police reports up again, where it's documented from the police of what my two children said. But Bianca had told the investigator that her father would grab her by her ankles, whip her out of bed in the morning, slam her to the hardwood floor, scream at her to clean the piss off of herself while he goes back to bed. And she's laying there wailing. All of us would listen to this. We were all being abused. We were all being verbally abused. I mean, this was severe. And this was in 2019, the beginning of 2020. And so when the pandemic happened in March 2020, I took that opportunity to finally break free from this abuse and get my children away from this abuse and get to a domestic violence shelter. And that is ultimately how the last 6 years started. Yeah. And unfortunately, we have come to learn that that's actually a really common storyline in the victims of the family court corruption and child protective services corruption cases, where, you know, a victim parent seeks help for themselves and their children, and all of a sudden the people who are supposed to help the victims flip everything around, and now all of a sudden the victim is portrayed as the perpetrator, the bad abuser. Parent. Yeah, and it's Darvo. The investigators and case managers and court personnel, they at that point just don't even listen to anything that the real victim has to say. Mm-mm. I mean, those police reports that you're talking about, those were hard to read. And I mean, they're heavily redacted. They're heavily redacted, but you can still see. And those were, those were your kids were being, questioned outside your presence. So it's not like you were sitting there telling them what to say. You didn't even know not allowed to go in until you got the police reports. But yeah, they're hard to read, and it's very clear, reading those, what was going on leading up to that. It's very clear that the right step for Heather was to break free from her ex-husband and to seek help at the time. Yep. But circling back to, the messages you got last night. Yeah. So today, since I was off work for MLK Day, Martin Luther King. Actually, last night there was another thing that we did after you got the messages. I don't even remember. So as a teacher, you are a mandate reporter. Oh yeah. And so you're actually required to
file a report. So
yeah,
we
I
got
put
on
in
the,
a Florida DCF report last night
through their online portal,
linking these text messages that I got.
And then you actually got a response from that submission this morning,
Yeah.
and that sort of dictated what our day today was
I
going
forgot
to
to print
be.
that. That's why I wasn't thinking about it. I forgot to print that email, but I'll put the email in the Google Doc link so you can see it. But it's literally Florida DCF, an intake by the name of Alex, and there's a reference number saying that it, even as a mandate reporter, like I actually put in my credentials for my employer for a public school, and I literally had to check the box that I'm a state of Florida mandate reporter because I am required. My own children, my students, other children, I'm required to file a Florida DCF report for my job.
There's literally no gray area. So you received a text message from a person reporting to be a friend of your daughter's, reporting that your daughter told her friend that your ex-husband gets drunk and hits her.
Yep.
So there's no question. You had to file a report.
Right. So I filed that report. It was not anonymous. I put in all of my information. I put in my employer's address.
Screenshots of the messages.
The whole 9 yards. And then around 9 o'clock this morning, I get an email saying it did not rise to the level of an investigation.
Yeah. So with that...
Florida DCF is going to be a defendant in my federal civil rights case for not protecting children in the state of Florida.
Because of your concerns, today we went up to the Daytona Beach Police Department, and you spoke with a lieutenant, a sergeant, and an officer, and you filed a written report.
I want to talk about my experience there, though. This is not the first time I've gone to the Daytona Beach Police Department, and I'm sure it probably won't be my last. But I've been to that police department at least 3 times now. And this was essentially my second time where I requested to do a written statement. And I was once again met with nothing but problems. There should never be a problem when I'm trying to say patient, but when a civilian walks into a police department and says, I need to report child abuse happening right now. I need a witness statement and I need to start writing it out right now. You don't give citizens the runaround. Yeah. I asked for a domestic violence advocate to be present with me to do this statement. They don't have any. I was literally told the Daytona Beach Police Department does not have domestic violence advocates. I said, I am a victim of the person that I'm reporting. He is my abuser. He is my children's abuser. This is a domestic violence situation that could lead ultimately to one of my children getting seriously hurt, killed, or commit suicide, or I should say unalive themselves. We need the little duck to quack me out. But I set the expectations the moment I walked in that building to the front desk. I need X, Y, and Z. And once again, Daytona Beach Police Department met me with nothing but resistance. They do not like allowing citizens to do written reports. Sheriff Michael Chitwood, same problem. I needed to do a written report to file an injunction against my stalker, my abuser, Laura Stiles. Sheriff Michael Chitwood in an email told me he would not allow me to do a written report. So this is an ongoing issue where I'm trying to get people to look at my children's situation, actually investigate my children's situation, and I can't even get these officers to allow me to do the basics among basics of my rights, which is the right to a written statement.
And part of that is what, unfortunately, what a lot of the officers out there don't understand is victims' trauma response.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which is why I asked for a domestic violence advocate, because they're supposed to be trained in trauma responses.
After you were initially getting some pushback, I actually stepped outside and spoke with the sergeant and was able to explain things a little bit more so he could understand. And then it was after that they did come in. He brought his lieutenant in.
It went from one officer to all of a sudden there's 3 of them in front of me, and I was
you were able to write your written report
Right.
to document the messages.
So we're going to share my written statement that took me almost 40 minutes to finally get the paper to actually write this. It should have just been handed to me immediately. I don't know why this is such a big deal. My daughter's phone number, at least I'm assuming it's her phone number, and then the person that texted me last night have been redacted for privacy reasons. But I wrote, and just so you know, there are some grammar issues. There are some data issues. Like I wrote Pete and I's zip code here in Edgewater instead of Daytona Beach. I had 3 officers directly to the right of me talking to Pete while I'm trying to write this out. And I have a tendency to write what I'm hearing. So I was trying very hard to make sure all of my facts were documented.
And that sort of comes from 20 years of working
customer
in service call centers.
Yeah.
Where you were literally having
so
to write what
we're
you were
looking
hearing.
at incident number at the very top right. Pete, can you scroll back up? Top right, 26 for year 2026-866, page 1 of 2. And so I write, I, Heather Bendl, received text messages from number 386, blip, informing me that they are a 13-year-old friend of my minor child, Bianca Elizabeth Serlick, date of birth 10/25/2011, who resides at 333 South Landvale Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32132. The zip code is actually 32114. So that's my first data error, stating that Bianca's father, Justin Serlick, gets drunk and hits Bianca. Bianca apparently told her friend this. The text message chain printout was provided to Sergeant Booth, Booth. Right before we arrived at Daytona Police Department, I received text messages from 386 blah, 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 alleging to be my daughter Bianca Serlick, threatening to kill me. So Pete, right as we're getting to the police department, the most bizarre thing happens. All of a sudden, I'm getting text messages from this phone number that has previously texted me multiple times.
But we have no way to know who it really is.
The last time was October 21st, 2025, threatening to kill me. A lot of very vulgar words for a then 13-year-old to be texting me. This was right before her 14th birthday. I would share those texts, but I did not have enough time to print it out and redact everything. So rather than not having the stuff redacted and protecting privacy of phone numbers, I'm not going to show it on this episode, but I'm sure I will in the future. So I'm documenting in this police report that literally seconds before we pull into the Daytona Police Department, all of a sudden I'm getting in all caps, and Pete, I want you to read this.
And it's anybody listening or watching, you're going to have to bear with me because these messages were so sort of broken and chopped up.
Whoop. What time does it start? 12:59. So it starts just before 1 p.m., literally as we're not even 5 minutes away from the police department.
So it started, and it was just a rapid fire stream of where you couldn't even respond. So
right.
Mom, I know you fucking did not, need to remember we'll go back and edit. So let me start again. Mom, I know you did not tell my whole ass name to one of my friends to you wanna die. BC, I am not playing with you.
Lots of swear words from a 14-year-old minor child to her biological mother.
ISTFG, don't know what that means.
What does that stand? I knew it.
Just
I swear to effing God.
Okay,
That's what it stands for.
Then it says just die.
Just die already. Now, let's pause that for a second. March 22nd of 2020, Justin Serlick and Mary Serlick in front of my 4 children, literally bending over me while I'm having a panic attack, kept repeating, just kill yourself already. Just die already. Just kill yourself already. Now, almost 6 years later, March will be 6 years.
Exact same language.
I've got the exact same language coming from my now 14-year-old biological daughter.
So, and when I get to the end of this, there's something else I'm going to, point out, but we'll go. Whoops. No, sorry. I forgot we didn't have the these up on the screen. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't have a chance to
just
redact.
already. Then it says, no wonders you, I think it meant to say you got to jail.
Yeah, I'm thinking she was told that I was in jail, and that's why she hasn't had contact with me, which would make sense.
If they've got to come, but it's not.
They've got to come up with some sort of narrative the last 6 years to explain to my children why I'm not around. And so it's very clear my children are being told that I was arrested, I've been put in jail, I've been in jail, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I've never been in jail. I would not be able to be a public school teacher if I've ever been in jail.
So then it goes on telling my friends that not real, stay out of my life. No wonder we all hate you. That's why I'm going to high school, because I don't need you. We never needed you, Mom. I swear to God, I'll find you. Do you want to? Do you write? Like I said, these are really hard to understand. The threat. It says do you RY.
I think she's asking really if I want to slap her in the face. I bet you would, because she said, do you really want to go to my face and slap me? I bet you will. Do it, and I am a lot stronger now. So basically, she's saying she's telling me to slap her. Yeah, and then she will fight me? Yeah. Is what that sounds like?
Yeah. And then it goes on to say, so why to you telling people at my damn school that my dad is using me?
I think that's supposed to be abusing me, not using me.
Yeah. But
it would make sense compared
abusing me,
contrast to the conversation last night.
Nah, ho, you drugged us when we was little. And don't give me bull crap. Then you did respond. That's the first time you had a chance to respond.
It was like rapid fire text messages, and they basically all came in at once. So as I'm trying to struggle to read these messages because they're not very legible.
It's not normal English.
No, and it's in all caps. And most of us have issues reading all caps, which is why I don't understand why most people write in all caps, because it's harder to read. So I respond with, I've never hit you, Bianca, but your father has many times where you even told the investigators what he did to you. It's in public police reports.
And then the last messages you got was, when I was little, you hit me for cutting up winter gloves.
I don't even know what she's talking about.
And it says, you can't text now because you can't lie about what really went on.
So I respond with, no idea what you are talking about. I continue to tell you your father, Justin Serlick, Mary Serlick, and Ira Serlick are lying to all of you. Look at all of the evidence for the entire world to see. And then I gave her the link to my Facebook, the Justice for the Serlick Children Facebook page, and the YouTube channel. And then oddly enough, more messages. That is when we walked into the Daytona Beach Police Department, right as I texted this at 1:07 p.m. We're walking into the police department building, and all of a sudden the messages stop.
Yeah. So it was
most bizarre thing ever.
Timing was really weird, but so a couple things I want to point out, just because of the content there and some of what was brought up. I do want to make it clear and let everybody know who may be new to our podcast here and new to hearing Heather's story. Going back 6 years ago, 2020, when the kids were first taken, DCF in Illinois did not allege Heather abused her kids. The actual, reasoning that they initially took the kids was they cited that Heather failed to...
I can quote it exactly because I've memorized it. Failure to provide proper shelter. Yeah. That's it. That was the excuse they used to kidnap all four of my children from Kitty Cottage Daycare in Fox Lake, Illinois, October 8th, 2020.
And so just so everybody's
during a pandemic where there's a housing crisis and freeze.
What I was going to say is, prior to Illinois DCF stepping in, you had returned back to Illinois in March of 2020, seeking domestic violence shelter help.
got back up to Illinois from Florida, got immediately in contact with domestic violence shelters.
Filed through your original divorce attorney, filed to modify your original divorce and parenting agreement because you had a fourth child.
That needed to be added into the parenting, so he was legally protected because for 3 years he wasn't.
Like 1 month after that, all of a sudden, Illinois DCF shows up, claims that you failed to provide proper housing because what was happening is the domestic violence...
Not even proper housing, it was shelter. Proper shelter.
And what was happening is
which is the domestic, most bullshit.
Well, the domestic violence shelters kept getting you guys hotel rooms, but because of the COVID pandemic, the hotels would close and you would have to move to a different hotel. And this was sort of a repeated pattern for a while.
Governor J.B. Pritzker puts a housing freeze for all of the state of Illinois for all of 2020, and then Illinois DCF just comes in, starts stealing children because of the housing freeze. Is essentially what happened.
There was no permanent housing for you to get into at the time, which is why they kept bouncing.
Because the governor put a housing freeze. No one can move out. No one can move in.
And then
what are we supposed to do for those that had leases end right before the pandemic?
So then after they kidnap your kids from Kitty Cottage Daycare in Fox Lake, Illinois, you were able to, through your attorney, literally provide the receipts and calendars showing the hotels and stays and basically proving that
almost $600 a week in hotel rooms.
You and the kids had
a week because we had nowhere else
shelter,
to go because of the housing freeze.
But you were able to prove you had proper shelter the entire time.
Absolutely.
So they actually sort of just dropped that charge.
Right.
But because
they had nothing to go off of.
You were already in the system, so they needed something to go off of.
Right. So they ran with Justin Serlick.
They flipped it around, and then the reports all start stating that you have mental health issues based, and literally this is what the reports say.
In the report.
You have mental health issues, and they determine that based solely off statements from your ex-husband.
They cited Justin Serlick specifically in the DCF final report. Ex-husband Justin Serlick told the DCF investigators that Heather Bendl has mental health issues and therefore is an unfit mother.
And now here's the thing. They never specified.
He's not a psychologist.
They never specified what those issues were. The judges are not psychologists. They just ran with a generic mental health issues.
No documentation whatsoever was ever provided to prove any of it.
I am 100% sure, because I know we've connected with other people, that what we've just said is probably going to resonate with a bunch of people out there. Because literally the exact same thing has happened to you.
Yep.
And you know, it's absolutely horrendous what Child Protective Services and the family court systems have been doing to families and what they've been getting away with because there's no oversight.
Right. Now, can you pull the police report back up? So, because we got to the point in the police report where we were talking about those texts, so we wanted to go through that, but we want to finish the police report.
Little sidetracked.
That's fine.
Oops.
I should have written more, but I was overwhelmed by the amount of Daytona Beach PD officers surrounding us in that tiny room. I really wanted to write more in this police report than just 2 pages. But I got out a majority of my immediate concerns in these 2 pages in the report. Okay, right. We got it back up on the screen. Okay, so I say, alleging to be my daughter, Bianca Serlick, threatening to kill me. This is now the second time this number has sent me text messages threatening to kill me. Last time was October 21st, 2025, and I still have those texts as well. My daughter, Bianca, has had a 1.0 GPA in Volusia County schools for 3 years now, and no one has been willing to step in to help my minor children being neglected and abused by their documented abuser, Justin Serlick. Bianca has previously given recorded statements with Lake County, Illinois, that Justin Serlick abused her verbally and physically. I am Justin Serlick's victim trying to advocate for my children while Justin Serlick continues to hide my children behind and it was supposed to say legally void. Not illegally void. It is an illegal document, but it's legally void. Yeah. And I'll explain why in a second.
With the appellate brief.
Yeah. Illinois order in the state of Florida. There is no Florida court order preventing or blocking me from my minor children. None, in all caps. Justin Serlick is hiding my children behind this illegal document as a form of control and abuse towards Heather Bendl, me. This is a severe form of child psychological abuse. The children are being lied to by Justin, Mary, and Ira Serlick while they block all access. So I wanted to write more, but like I said, I was getting overwhelmed by the amount of talking. When I tried to say something, they would be rude to me. These officers have no people skills whatsoever. But at the bottom of this, you can see that I signed it, and then the Officer King signed it. She swore me in the whole 9 yards like you're supposed to. You're supposed to go under oath, and then they signed that they witnessed it in the witness statement. That's how it's supposed to properly be done. More often than not, officers skip that part, and I don't play around when it comes to my children's safety. So I'm making sure everything is crossed, T's crossed, I's dotted, because this is going to be evidence in my federal lawsuit against everyone. So supposedly Officer King was going to be heading to Justin's address at 333 South Landvale Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida, 32114. And investigating the situation, speaking to Bianca separate from Justin or anyone else, speaking to Charlie separate from anyone else. At least that's what she said she was going to do. And then she would write up this report. Yeah. And then, of course, she was trying to critique my written report, saying, well, until a court says it's void, it's not void. And then I had to educate her on our U.S. Constitution. So no state, no judge, no law supersedes our U.S. Constitution. Tanoa Downing, Jessica Saxton, they're always talking about this. You've got the supremacy clause of the U.S. Constitution. So if a 3-page court order in family court violates my U.S. constitutional rights, for example, due process, my 14th Amendment protections, if it violates those, it's legally void. If it violates constitutional laws, it's legally void under the definition of federal law.
So what's supposed to happen is when you realize you have had a void order issued against you, you go to the court that issued it and you ask them to vacate it. When you present it to that court, so the laws in Illinois, at least, because this is what we looked at, because that's where the court was when they issued this. The law literally states, the actual statute says, upon proper presentment, the court is mandated to vacate the bad order. Okay. So of course, that's what Heather did. She filed a motion or a petition for relief and vacature.
July 17th of 2025.
Worked for
Illinois Circuit 19.
So basically for the next 5 to 6 months, you were in the Lake County, Illinois Circuit 19 court system again, ultimately culminating in October in October, there was a hearing in front of Judge Melius, Jacqueline D. Melius, where she basically locked you out of the Zoom hearing and then dismissed your petition without even considering the merits of it.
Yeah.
Basically dismissed it because Justin's attorney argued that it was that the Illinois courts didn't have jurisdiction
to deal with their own illegal order violating my rights.
The problem is they were the court that issued the original order, so they always retain limited jurisdiction to address their own orders, which is what you were requesting they reviewed it under.
Yeah.
You were not requesting that they review it because you were alleging that they had any current jurisdiction beyond the jurisdiction to vacate.
Ultimately, it was dismissed. So I filed a notice of appeal. That appeal, because it involves child custody and parenting agreements, it is accelerated under Illinois Rule 311A. So my appellant brief was due last Monday, January 12th. I filed it Sunday evening, January 11th. It was accepted January 12th in the afternoon. And then Friday, they confirmed that they received their 5 physical copies of the appellant brief. And Justin received his physical copy of the appellant brief in the mail Thursday on my birthday, confirmed with tracking.
Also served via email and court e-file system.
E-file system. Yep. So ball's in his court now. I literally argue for over 50-something pages, just under 14,000 words, why this 3-page order needs to be dealt with. And as you can see, there is a valid reason it needs to be dealt with. He is neglecting and abusing my children in front of everyone's faces, and I can't do a damn thing about it because that order is being used to block all access.
It's being used as a weapon against you is what it really is. And it is, it is disturbing that a parent who loves and cares for their children has to go through not only what you've gone through, but just to try to get help for your kids. You have literally filed Child Protective Service reports. You have filed police reports. You have filed stuff in family court in 2 different states. You have filed in appellate court in 2 different states. You have started a podcast. To make sure
started a nonprofit.
You founded a nonprofit that you are working to help other people in this situation.
Educate others, help others once I get my certified paralegal.
You are working on your paralegal degree.
Yeah. Working on my MBA.
Working on your MBA as well. And then at the same time, you are also running for political office here in Florida.
2026 election, I'll be on the primary ballot.
And all of that, and I'm probably missing some stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
All of it is
we were approved foster parents.
Yeah.
We went through the training and background check to be Florida DCF foster parents here in this home. I was approved, background checked, and even assigned dependency cases. I had access to 2 children as a volunteer guardian ad litem here in Florida Circuit 7.
I mean, it's just...
Someone explain why this is happening. If I am wrong and everything is legal and kosher and as it's supposed to be, how it is possible that I can be a volunteer guardian ad litem in Florida Circuit 7. I can be a foster parent here in the state of Florida DCF. I can be a public school district a public school teacher teaching marine biology to 9th through 12th graders. But yet my children, all of them, are struggling, and I think that's an understatement, are drowning in their academics and their education. And I don't understand how no one in this area of Volusia County
nobody wants to take responsibility.
Is helping my children. Florida DCF Daytona office is failing my children. Daytona Beach Police Department is failing my children. Volusia County Sheriff's Office and Sheriff Michael Chitwood is failing my children. Judge Stasia Warren failed my children. Judge Sandra C. Upchurch failed my children. General Magistrate Alexander Alvarez failed my children. Child Support Hearing Officer Neil Kaufman failed my children. Alan T. Holt is stealing from me while failing my children because of Title IV-D. What is it going to take? Yeah. So this episode is to beg. I am literally at this point begging the surrounding communities here in Daytona Beach, Florida, and across this nation. I am begging people to come to my children's aid. File police reports. If you see these documents that I am sharing with you and you see what's happening to my kids, please file a police report. Please put in a Florida DCF report as a anonymous if you want to. You don't have to be anonymous, but if you feel that the only way you can do it is anonymously, please. I need eyes on my children.
Certainly, if
I don't know what else to do.
If anybody knows Heather's kids or her ex-husband and you see them out in the community and you see something that doesn't look right to you, please report it because, at this point, Heather has done everything we can think of, everything that's been recommended. And the kids are
The Volusia County School Board doesn't care. They made it clear when I was in front of them January 14th of 2025, they do not care. Yeah. I cannot get Superintendent Carmen Ballgobbin to respond to my emails. I have tons of read receipts. She's obviously at least opening my emails because my email box sends me a read receipt when it's opened. So she's opening my stuff. The assistant principals are opening my emails. No one is responding to me. So Volusia County Schools will be a defendant in federal court. I will be suing them because this is insane.
The reality is, in the absence of any other contravening information, in the absence of any information, showing your kids are doing well, you only have to go off of what you do get, which is their grades, and then the information we've gotten from filing for public records requests, documenting, different police reports that have been, issues that have occurred
at this point, we can't even say that these grades are accidental. This is 100% abuse and neglect. Yeah. Justin Serlick is abusing and neglecting and frankly destroying. And I feel like at this point it's on purpose. I feel like if he can't destroy me personally, he has chosen to destroy my children instead. Would you say that's accurate?
I mean, that's really honestly the only explanation that really makes sense at this point, because look, here's the thing. And I know this from my own firsthand experience. You move from any of the states up north, you move to Florida, jumping into the Florida public education system, it is a night and day difference. So that change right there definitely can lead you to, as a elementary or high school student, to have a rough experience. Okay. 1 year of bad grades is understandable with a move like that.
But 3.5, almost 4 years now.
2 years should raise serious concerns when you're rolling into 3 years of significantly.
August will be 4 years.
Concerning
4 years? No,
grades.
5 years. Because they got down here August 13th of 2021.
And they're just pushing the kids through, bumping them up grades, but they're not passing.
No.
And nobody really seems to care. They're pushing them up to a point where they can, push them out the door and not be responsible, is what it seems like. And it's honestly, it is.
What are my children supposed to do with their lives? If they don't even have basically an 8th grade, let's say, 8th grade education, Tommy has had 1.0 since 8th grade. He's now a senior. He just turned 18. Bianca's in 8th grade right now. So, I mean, she's got a 1.0 GPA essentially this year. So she's going to start out high school with no real education. She's not passing. Yeah. The only reason she's moving forward is because that's the No Child Left Behind Act that's BS. So again, these kids are not earning, they're passing to the next grade level. They're just being shoved into the next grade level, regardless of what they're passing.
So again, Heather's ask is, anybody out there, if you have suggestions, anything else that she hasn't tried yet, or if you know somebody that might be able to help in the situation, or if you happen to know her kids or
call the Daytona Police Department
and see something,
tell them that you believe that my children are being neglected and abused. File reports with Florida DCF. Do what you would do as if these were your own children. I really need the community's help at this point. I was raised on It Takes a Village. I had my neighbors helping my grandparents raise me. Margie Cleveland helped raise me across the street. She was my neighbor. I really, really, at this point, am begging for any and all assistance any parent, anyone is willing to give to raise alerts to what my children are going through. There is no other word for it. They are being abused. They are being neglected. And I don't understand how they are supposed to be productive citizens if they don't even have passed an 8th grade education. We are not in the 1920s where kids were dropping out to go to war. That is not a thing anymore. Children need a basic education to be productive citizens in society. And I'm going to say it again, how a child does in school is a direct reflection of their home life. So it is very, very clear that my children are suffering in their home life. So this episode was dedicated all in regards to my concerns for my daughter, Bianca Serlick. Episode 2 is going to be regarding my Illinois appellant brief and the appendix.
And that's coming this week. I know a lot of people over the past year, as Heather has told about filing into appellate court. A lot of people have asked her questions, so we're going to do a whole episode just on her Illinois brief.
My experience, the procedures I've learned.
Answer a lot of questions out there. Hopefully it'll help some other people get through the process or even start the process.
At least in the state of Illinois, I'll be able to give Florida. I'm pretty much an expert at appellant court now. I know how to write Florida appellant briefs quickly. Illinois has a lot more of technicalities and rules that you need to follow that are not duplicated here in the state of Florida. Okay. So if you are in the state of Illinois and you're trying to get into appellant court or you're looking at appellant court, you'll want to stay tuned for episode 2, where we break down what we've learned about Illinois appellate court, and then the local rules for Illinois District 2 Court of Appeals in Elgin, Illinois. We're going to touch specifically on those local rules and what I had to do to navigate them. So that will be later this week. So stay tuned. We will be going into a deep dive regarding Illinois appellate court procedures and my brief specifically.
And anybody who has listened to us up to this point, please, if you're on a platform where you're listening only, please like and subscribe to our podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, it's very important. Please thumbs up this video, subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel, and hit the bell notification so you get notifications on our upcoming videos. We're trying to spread the information, especially the information where we're able to put information that's going to help other people. Like our next episode is going to be going through the appellate brief process. Yeah. As
an educator, I'm going to try to help as many other court victims as possible and educate you on how you can help yourself pro se.
All right. And we are going to close. We're going to play you our new theme song. You would have heard it at the beginning, but we're going to let you hear it one more time as we say goodbye.
Bianca Elizabeth, I love you, and I will continue to advocate for you, even though you probably have no clue what's really going on. I hope someday you understand that I'm trying to protect you and I'm trying to advocate and get you the help you need. All of you.